that a woman going through what oftentimes is the most challenging period of her life, and she's dealing with her husband and trying to deal with something that is unbelievably difficult. I'm not sure I want some legislator or a sheriff coming in and making that decision for her. Sometimes it's a last ditch effort to save a woman's life. Listen, I thought you were going to talk about gun safety.
Well, I absolutely do want to talk about that, but
I've only got 2 more minutes. So
well, that wasn't 2 minutes. Are you kidding me?
That's
a joke. I'm sorry, sir. That's a joke. If I ask you a tough question on abortion, which you refuse to answer directly, now you tell me you have 2 minutes. I'm sorry. That's wrong.
And listen, Dan, I apologize that you guys can't be direct in what you want to discuss.
Governor,
I'm happy to discuss anything,
we specifically discussed it with your staff. Your staff told us no limits. Everything's fair game. Well, I made a point of that. I had my producer call your staff this afternoon.
Your staff and shaking her head saying just the opposite.
I said, tell the governor. Tell the governor I want to ask about everything.
I trust that there's an email there that'll verify what you're saying.
No, they talked about it on the phone. I specifically said, hey, let them know I want to talk about everything.
You want to talk about guns? Because I've got about a minute.
Well, I'm sorry, sir. If you're giving me 2 minutes and you're limiting the topics, then this isn't a real interview. This isn't a real exchange. I'd love to have a real conversation with you.
Well, I'm sure that we'll have that chance.
Let me ask you this question. Let's say that an infant is born alive after a failed abortion. At that point, should it be required that the infant receive medical care?
Dan, you're asking me hypothetical questions as if I'm, the supreme decider on one issue or another. You could design dozens and dozens of hypothetical questions.
This isn't hypothetical, sure. Sir. It happens in America.
No. Wait a second. What I keep saying is that you want to focus on a narrow question that to some level of outrage that you want to create. That's not. I don't.
No,
think that
sir. That's nonsense. These are real babies. This is happening in America. You want to be president.
How do we get government?
This is a real issue.
How do we allow government to stay, out of people's lives except where necessary? And I think that, this notion that a woman, when she's going through these incredibly difficult situations, is not going to be able to resolve this between herself or a doctor, or herself or her husband and a doctor. It somehow needs government to come in and arbitrate this. Again, they're trying to inflame people's
Governor,
emotion.
No, I'm asking about real life situations. In fact, I'm sure you're familiar with the bill, the Born Alive Survivors Protection Act.
I understand this, that the real life situations happen and they are difficult situations. Again, we'll get a chance to discuss this in more detail. I've got to go. But it's more than just discussing real life situations. You can't try to find an example of every single instance.
Governor, this happens all the time. Would you answer this one question? It goes directly to a piece of legislation. The Senate's.
Wait 1 second. Hold on. I got to go. I do. We're already like 4 or 5 minutes late, and I've got a whole room full of people waiting.
We've got a big audience waiting as well.
Continue this conversation. I'm sorry. We told you we only had a few minutes. You've already taken twice as much time as what you asked for.
I was told we had 15 minutes.
Right.
Hey, Dan.
Dan, I don't know who you talked to, but I could put you on.
Hey, Dan.
I'll turn this over. I got to go.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, I'm sorry. The governor's got to jump, but you know what? We'll see if we can find some time to reschedule this. And I just want to be clear, in the conversation with Brian, this conversation was supposed to be about gun safety, the recent incidents in Dayton and El Paso, and then talking about red flag laws. That's what Ryan sent over to us. I'm not sure if there was a miscommunication along the line, Dan, but that's what we were told.
Well, and Ryan called this afternoon. Ryan called this afternoon and said, hey, Dan wants to talk about everything, and was told everything's fair game.
Can you do you know if he talked with do you have
sure.
a name?
Well, I will get the name from Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Natalie, and the agreement was every issue in the 2020 campaign.
Gotcha. Okay, well, let me touch base with Natalie, and again, we'll see if we can find some additional time.
Okay, I hope we do.
The initial understanding was about gun control, and I'm sorry if there was some confusion there, but let's see if we can't find some additional time. And again, thanks for taking the time, and we'll be in touch, okay?
Okay, look forward to it. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Bye.